All right, it says we're live, so let's get this started. Okay, today's task is we are going to finish implementing the organization management of this application I'm trying to build. So where did I leave off last time? I was trying to implement a scheduler, and I believe I did that. So in each of these application modules, we have a file for scheduling where we can write functions that we'd want to schedule, and then we set them up as background tasks. Should probably have them called like scheduled background tasks. That might be a little better because they're not, you know, FastAPI has a built-in background tasks system, but it doesn't have any kind of persistence, or it can't tolerate a restart. So, I think this is fine for now. So I'm going to go ahead and implement the feature, get status. That's good. Oh, what was the diff? I added a cron trigger. Add git commit. Added. Oh, never mind. I was in the middle of implementing something. So for the product, see, this is a little bit challenging. So when, like the way that I have my product set up, in order to use the product, you create what's called a organization product segment, right? Because when you have a paid account, users are joined. A user can belong to one or many organizations, and an organization is the vehicle through which you actually make a payment and have an account, have access to the API. That way you can bill at the corporation level rather than the individual user level. And in order to create that segment, you have to first check to see if first you have to retrieve the organization, and you have to verify that it's linked to the user that is logged in, is valid, and that the organization is not inactive. So that's step one. Two is you have to retrieve the product that they are claiming they want to create a segment for. So that'd be like the product they're purchasing. And that would be part of organization product segment create. Yeah, so you'd have to tell them what organization you are, what product you want to purchase, and whether or not you want to do it recurring. So once you've validated your organization, you retrieve the product, then you want to see if the current organization has any product. And the way you do that is you check for the organization ID, the current product is not disabled, and the current timestamp is between the effective start and end of the current product. And if that exists, then you update that and you set the effective end to right now minus a second. And the used seconds, amount base unit, next carryover. Why did I do all this? So it was, if they had signed up for a product and then a day later they decided they wanted a different product, I wanted to automatically refund them or apply a credit to the next organization segment. Take a second to check if anybody's watching this. I doubt they are. Live chat. Yep, no viewers. That's fine. So, oh, wrong way. You know what? I really should have two screens. Let's set that up. Okay, and that goes over here. There we go, double screen setup. Now I can see the chats that you people send to me. Okay, what are we doing next? So the challenge was I need to schedule if they have elected for a reoccurring organization product segment that this function gets called. Yeah, but you see, this isn't quite right because it's not quite right because it doesn't say when it's going to be effective. I guess what I really need to do is mark whether or not it's going to be charged for the future, like if the product's going to be set up for the future or if it's going to be done right now. And I could control that through a flag, which I could say, let's just say recommend. I love how all of Google's error messages are so small that you can't even read them. The stream's current bit rate is lower than the recommended bit rate. We recommend that you use a stream of 6,800. I mean, I don't even have any streamers. What do I care? Okay, so when you go to create a product organization segment, the challenge is when you press the button to pay for the product right then and there, you actually want to end whatever the current segment is to use the next product. Unless you want to have it scheduled for the future. So this is probably the wrong way to do this, but we'll add a flag. So we need a flag to say like, do it right now, right? Or maybe the effective start at, and we'll do that as a date time. And of course, we'll have to import that type. Okay, and we should probably set a same default for this. Equal to datetime.now. Yeah, but you see the challenge is you don't want to, no, this needs to be an optional type. So we want to say from typing import optional. And you really want to say that this is an optional date time, and by default it's equal to none. So that way, if effective start at is none, then it will use the transactions timestamp. And that's really important. You know, this is one of the big mistakes that people make when they're doing any kind of backend engineering. They don't rely on their database enough. You know, this entire thing is wrapped inside of a transaction, this async with connection.transaction. All of these SQL statements, only if they all succeed does all of this get written. And these handy, you know, current timestamp, these all evaluate to not only the same value, but the absolute correct value of the transaction. And you would be amazed at how many people rely on the clock of the computer to which the services have been deployed. I don't know why people would do that. You have to deal with the ridiculous problem of trying to sync the clocks between all the computers, and one's a little bit ahead and one's a little bit behind. Really a bad idea. So I just noticed my logo is in the bottom right. Can I turn that off? Whatever. I'm here to code. I don't really care if that stupid logo is in the way. Okay, all right, so what we really need to say is this statement right here needs to be different. So again, this is probably wrong, but we'd say if is none, then we'll set all of this to indent, else we're going to create a secondary route. Okay, so if effective start at is not none, we want to use it. We want to say, instead of current timestamp, well, we don't even want to check for, yeah, so this process doesn't happen here. It happens higher up. So it's really all the way up here. And you would say if effective start at is none, then all of this, all of this needs to be indented. Else, you have a completely separate control flow. And the reason being is we no longer want to check for current timestamp between. We want to check if the effective date. But this really is a waste because it's really just a matter of which timestamp do you use. See, and I can't use, I mean, I could coalesce. This is really where you should be using Postgres variables. So let's look that up. Postgres variables. So you can declare a variable's value can be used in later initialization expressions in the same block. Okay, so if I declare no, this is all for creating functions. So you declare the variable, then you set its value. God, this is really uncomfortable. I really have a lot of respect for streamers to be able to sit here and talk nonstop about what you're doing. You really have to have a complete mastery of, one, the topic, and then two, your ability to speak. So this is really challenging. Honestly, this is the first time I've ever even tried this, coding on stream. I saw somebody else do it the other day, and I thought to myself, well, that's an excellent way to motivate myself to actually work on my side projects. So, okay, let's not have such massive case logic. The problem is really this piece right here. And the challenge is really that I want to, well, I'm already relying on the transaction. And I'm pretty sure I can only put one query inside of fetch row. Is there a better way to do this? No, this value right here really is what I need to parameterize. Begin transaction update, huh? Where ID is equal to last ID, into last ID. Declare begin. Yeah, see, the problem is that the declare happens before this transaction starts. Is there a way to set up the transaction with a statement like that? I mean, as far as I know, there's only really fetching. I have to assume that this whole thing is available. Yeah, let's check this out. So this is a connection that is acquired through the database, and the database is an async PG create pool. Prepared statements. So what I'm looking for is, I want to know if it's okay for me to set up variables. I don't see anything in the documentation here. We're looking up the async PG Python library. Got the official documentation, which says transactions. What if I search for declare? Why can't I use a cursor outside a transaction? No, that's not it. But that's the only text they have. Cursor created by a call to connection.cursor, a prepared statement cannot be used outside of a transaction. Any such attempt will result in, to create a cursor usable outside of a transaction, use the declare cursor with hold. That's not what I'm looking for. Set built-in type codec. That's not what I'm looking for. Connection.cursor. No, I don't want to declare a cursor. So they don't say anything about it. I would have to assume that it knows how to do this. Well, no, because anything that happens in the middle is after the begin. It's not including the declare. I think I have to do this manually. I am really tired. I don't know that I want to do this tonight. Yeah, I think I'm going to go to bed. I haven't had a single viewer, and this is really taxing.